Do you have any idea the kind of risks a woman like me takes every time she agrees to have a little fun?
Never thought about it that way.
Of course you haven't. You're not a woman.
Love hurts.
You seem like a nice guy.
Love scars.
But the real issue is safety.
Love wounds.
That's life are tough.
And more.
So I'm gonna have to ask you a question. Are you a serial killer?
What did you just say? Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Can you help me, please?
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. I'm in control.
No. Maybe I lied.
You know you asked for this, right?
Some fools
How did I get so lucky tonight?
I know it isn't true. No, it isn't true.
Gotcha.
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Strange Darling, hitting theaters on August 23rd. I'm Kuya, this Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things Strange Darling is my pal, Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
Okay. Kind of been a weird day, I think.
Been a weird day.
Been a weird week.
Yeah. Well, this is a weird film, and we're going to break it down as we do, y'all. If you haven't seen our reviews, we give you a little bit of the story without spoiling. I try my best. And then we throw in a little bit of love to the cast and crew, because it takes a village to make a film. So shout out to the cast and crew. We will highlight certain people, but our love to the entire cast and crew. And then we'll give you our thoughts. So you ready to dig in, Heather?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. It is on your boy. Strange Darling is written and directed by J.T. Mollner. The DP on this, who you'll notice, is an actor, Giovanni Ribisi. What is he doing? He's getting behind the camera. He is a true artist, and he does an outstanding job, I have to say, on this with his eyes. So shout out to him collaborating with JT Mollner. And it stars Willa Fitzgerald, Kyle Gallner, Barbara Hershey, Ed Begley Jr., and more. Those are kind of like the main actors in this. So there's your cast, your crew. And again, as we said earlier, it takes a village. So shout out to everyone involved. But Strange Darling, you saw the trailer. This is a weird one, y'all. We have what you see kind of like a woman on the run. She meets this man. She has somewhat of a relationship with this guy. And you see that from the trailer. And then she's kind of being chased by this man. And that's what happens throughout the film. But it goes in different time jumps, which is very interesting and very creatively done. I think creatively done well to kind of explain the story and the nature of the relationship between these two characters. And it goes into some territories I didn't think it was going to go. I thought it was really cut and dry, this relationship that she finds out this guy, well, she accuses this guy of being a killer, but there's a lot more to that. And this couple gets brought into play, Ed Begley, played by Ed Begley Jr. and Barbie Hershey. And then other people get involved, but it is back and forth. You're not quite sure what is going on, but it's a weird tale on a relationship, if you will. And I want to leave it at that, because if I go any further, it'll spoil. But I was very surprised on how it flowed, the way it was shot, and the way it was written, and how it goes back and forth to tell you this tale, to its ending, which really caught me, how it was done artistically. how artistically it was done. But yeah, it was a very much a surprise for me. I didn't really, I think I saw a bit of the trailer because we had like a react on the channel, but I didn't know really too much other than that. And the music was haunting and wonderful, done by an artist by the name of Zeeberg, which, by the way, I have interviews with Zeeberg that'll be on the channel, as well as writer-director JT Mollner, along with Giovanni Ribisi. Go check them out. But yeah, just a weird story in regards to a relationship. I'm gonna leave it at that because Heather knows I can mess up and spoil. Did I succeed in not giving too much away, but also kind of giving the gist, Heather? To throw it down to you.
I actually think you could have given more, which is kind of crazy for you.
Well, please help add then, because I'm being careful, as you know.
So if you're a fan of film festivals or anything like this, movie has actually kind of made the circuit a little bit. One of the big things that came out of some very recent ones is that this movie is based on a true story. Or is it? About a serial killer who kind of made their way through a lot of states. And it's actually right up at the forefront. You can find this information on the interwebs, not getting too much into it. It's like they say it in the opening sequence. That's what's going on. There's a lot more to it. That's kind of the gist of what they say. And the movie is put into 6 parts. It's kind of an anthology where you have 6, but it's a timeline anthology. They tell you which chapter you're in at any given point, but what you have to do is you're culminating into that final chapter to figure out everything. It was definitely an interesting way to go. If you're one of those people who do not like time skips to make to a point that is a purposeful time skip so that it can it cuts out needed information on purpose, this movie is not for you. The true suspense of this movie isn't necessarily horror. The true suspense is the detail that is left out. So if you're not one of those types of people who you like that ongoing story, you like that detail, you want to know exactly what's going on as it's going on, this, I'm going to tell you right now, is not the movie for you, because that's the whole point of this film.
All right. So it is not a horror, it's a dark romance thriller, per also what IMDb is putting up here. I completely agree. And let's get into our thoughts on this, Heather. And again, I want to avoid spoilers as best we can for those that haven't checked it out. But the way it was shot, let's talk about Giovanni Ribisi being a DP on a film, man. I thought this was just the visuals, the camera angles, the way it was shot really built up an atmosphere of dread and where is this going, and salvation for when we're following Willa to try and get away from Kyle Gallner's character. What did you think of the overall look and feel of the film?
From a cinematic point of view, I found it interesting. It was definitely a fantastical way to shoot a film. Or I guess I should say it's a fantastical way to cut a film, because apparently they shot pretty on point. Because as we know, a lot of films, you shoot all of this scene, you shoot all of that scene. Apparently it was shot pretty in time to help make sure that they were cutting correctly. I do like how they presented the film. It was very interesting. Honestly, I like the music. The music was the best part. I know we're not talking about that yet, but I will say I am not as jumped onto this movie as you were. I don't know what I was expecting, but what I will say is that the film, how it progressed, how it is displayed. If it wasn't for the music, I don't know if I would be as in love with the process, with the visuals as I was. But I won't disregard the fact that it is presented in a very interesting way, a very artistic way. This is a very art housey film, incredibly art housey.
It is an art house film. I think it's like even when I spoke with him, I thought, to me, this film is art. As a creative, as a filmmaker, I was very inspired by this film in its choices, because it makes choices that other films don't exactly make. I feel personally, definitely echoing you. Zeeberg killed it on the soundtrack, but the actor choice. Let's go to the actors and the characters themselves. What did you? I thought all of them were doing. I wanted a little bit more Barbara and Ed. I won't say
Yeah.
what happens to them, but because they're like the biggest name actors in this entire
is
film.
true.
But things happen. But I will say Willa Fitzgerald and Cal Gallner, our lady and our demon, are to be watched. I think they did phenomenal jobs because we're tracking on their relationship the whole time. What did you think about the relationship without spoiling in anything? Because I think what people will learn as they watch, it's very interesting.
I agree. I think that the cast was very well put together. I don't think there was a weak point, even from side characters' perspectives. I think there was some good, strong acting all over the place. When it comes to their relationship, there was a little bit of stereotype in it, but I do like that they came on from a lead-in perspective, and you saw this in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. You take the initial point of this is that this is a hookup based off of a woman who just wants to have fun but wants to do it carefully. Women are we have had 2 technically sexual violence movies, familial violence movies this month. This one is the opposite. Instead of having, a happy ending, potentially, you never know what the ending is. A happy-go-lucky Blake Lively kind of ending. This has a very different ending. This has a very different moral to the story. It has a very different moral to her story. So I did like how they brought upon the relationship. But do I think it got a little bit stereotyped? Yeah, I think it had a little bit of a stereotype.
I'm curious on that. Like,
I did not, the twist, I saw it coming. I know it might just be that this is, we actually talked about this with all my friends
are dead.
Yeah, all my friends are dead.
Yeah.
There are certain points where you have seen so many movies, so many thrillers, so many suspense, so many horror, that you kind of see things coming. And one unfortunate thing that I think this movie did both well and to its detriment was because it segmented itself, you had to carefully pay attention. And Creepy, you brought this up in the weekly, is that you do have to pay attention to this movie. But if you're paying attention to this movie, you put the pieces together pretty damn quick. So once again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's if you're paying attention, which you should be, this is one of those movies that you really should be watching. You kind of put the pieces together. So I wasn't thrown by the twist.
Yeah. I feel that. I think it's a wild relationship film.
Mm-hmm.
And how certain people have certain ways that they get off on things. There was not a lot of safe words spoken, so much so that things happen that I just thought it was just creatively done well. I'm trying to be very careful, but I just thought it was very interesting, and then it just goes haywire.
It's definitely I don't want to sound like I didn't like it, because it's not that. It was my true one and only complaint about this movie, like my true one and only, is it's purposefully slow. It's only an hour and a half, but there were times where I'm like, can we get to the next chapter?
Yeah, there are weird slow downs.
The music
hits, like it starts immediately at 95 miles per hour, and then it gets a rivet, and then it goes. Yeah, it's weird.
The first 30-40 minutes were phenomenal. The last 20 minutes were phenomenal. It was like that 30-40 minute period between that you're like, okay,
yeah,
give me more. And what's even worse is that this was such a great cast. It was such a great concept that I think that was also something that got me, is there's a lot of greats to this movie that feeling that lull in the middle was kind of like, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if that's truly that's the one true complaint I have. Everything else, this movie had a great concept, it had an incredible cast, and honestly, probably one of my favorite soundtracks of the year.
Yeah. The main song, hands down, like, oh, I can listen to that over and over again.
Actually, the final song got me. That the way
Oh.
that they played it right there at the end.
Yeah. And that ending.
That ending was amazing.
Girl.
It's you watch no matter what, no matter how slow paced it can be. Once again, this is also an art house film. Art house films lag. That's just sometimes what they do.
Yeah.
But if y'all can get to the end, I mean, you should get to the end, but if y'all can get to the end, let that ending really sink in because it is hella good.
Yeah.
So.
It just had me it's not the greatest film of all time, you know, but just creatively comparing it with the rest of the films I saw this year, it gets the nod over Long Legs because just to me, the character choices in, especially the I forgot the main detective that is in that. I forgot her name, but she just makes so many dumb choices that you can't have the film without her making dumb choices, but just come on. So that's why this gets the nod over that one, although that film was so atmospheric. My top three, again, thrillers this year is just made me feel some kind of way and made me think about it so much after. This one left me very creatively inspired. And just the way it was done and the character choices within it, like what? I was just like, wow, I just hadn't seen a lot of that in film and was pleasantly surprised. But we can go on at length, but we have other things to put up for you all on the channel. I think we've said enough. To me, it's a thumbs up. How about you, Heather?
Mine is a
3/3,
and mostly thumbs up. Just because this is not going to be an everybody film. And
I definitely agree with that.
If you like art house suspense thriller films, you will enjoy this. If you do not fit in that category, you might get bored. I'm going to be quite kind of honest with you. At the same time, if you just want to listen to this, to watch this movie just for the soundtrack, you are not missing out. This is a phenomenal soundtrack.
Completely agree. All right, y'all. Those are our feelings on Strange Darling arriving to theaters on August 23rd. If you want to talk all about it, I'm down to talk. Because I had so many questions after this. It was a crazy film. Hit us up in the comments below. Kuya P, Heather Hurt, Nerds Rule the World.